Alright, well I'm just wrapping up a hunt here, and in today's At the Ranch Whitetail tip, I want to quickly talk about calling to deer. Now, calling to deer can be effective throughout the season, but you want to know what to do and when to do it. What I mean by that is you don't want to be rattling in October or ever doing it. So there are a couple main tips that I want to touch on today with calling. The first being not being too aggressive before the rut. Now, earlier in the fall, before the rut really kicks in, grunting can be an effective tactic, but when you're grunting early in the season, you want to be using your grunt as a contact grunt. And this is usually grunting at a deer that you can see. I don't like to blind call this time of year, but if you can see a deer and read their body language, especially if a buck comes through and you can give them a couple grunts, I might come over to check it out. The second tip I wanted to talk about was knowing when to rattle. Rattling can be an effective tactic for calling deer, but you don't want to be rattling unless it's really close to the rut and during the rut. And when it comes to rattling, you want to make it sound as legit as possible, and by really replicating what deer sound like when they're fighting. And the best places to rattle is where the buck to doe ratio is pretty even. If you have a ton of does in an area and not many bucks, rattling won't be as effective. But if you have a lot of bucks and a lot of does, or a closer buck to doe ratio, then rattling can definitely be an effective tactic during the rut. And the last tip that I just want to touch on with calling in general is being able to read a deer's body language. So let's just say you have a buck come in and he's working away from you, and you give him a grunt and he looks back and he looks interested. Well, then wait again till he maybe looks away, and then hit him with another call. If you call to a deer and they look like they get alerted, don't keep calling to him, because that's not going to work. When it comes to calling, if you can read a deer's body language effectively, you're going to be a much better caller and know what to use, when to do it, and will ultimately help you harvest more deer.